Damiani tries to tie the hands up inside. He doesn't want to take any inside shots from Greg Page. Page clips him with a light left hand. Damiani complaining already about the low blow. Carlos Padilla will warn them about keeping the blows up. Again, I remind you that with low blows, even when they're accidental, there's still a foul. And a referee at his discretion can take a point away. Greg Page with the red trim on his trunks. Francesco Damiani with the blue trim on his trunks. Damiani likes to fight with his hands up in front of his face when he's inside. And Page goes inside. And now Damiani, for the first time, backs Page off with a couple of good shots. Two different style bodies, kind of the boxing loose sort of body that Damiani has and the chisel body of Greg Page. And that's something to say, considering the way Page used to be built. All right, round one is by the boards. A kind of even round, but I think Page landed more blows, so we'll give him the first round. And we're into Greg Page's corner. This is Aaron Stowell and Dr. Bill Foley. Let's listen.
Bring some pop in the mouth. You jab, rip them body shots, Greg. You gotta start fighting on the inside when you get close. You ain't throwing them body shots when you get close, right? Open your leg.
All you people watching in Europe, I'm sure you understand what they're saying in there. Unfortunately, I don't speak Italian. But that's Francesco Damiani, and we're ready to go. We're live from the Thomas & Mack Center on King Vision. I'm Bob Sheridan. This is round two. It's Damiani, the former WBO heavyweight champ, against Greg Page, the former WBC heavyweight champ, doing battle and both hoping to get a shot in this 10-round battle of heavyweights. Another title shot. Damiani probably realizes he's going to get a little bit busy here in round two if he's to start winning some rounds. Page a little bit more busy than was Damiani in round number one. Damiani had one good flurry and Page did the rest of the scoring. Scoring inside like this, inside. Page throws a lot of uppercuts. He ties up one arm of Damiani, and finally referee Carlos Padilla separates the two. Right hand lead by Damiani. That's the second time that Francesco's been able to score that right-hand lead on Greg Page. So Page doesn't want to get lazy and drop that left hand because he is open for the right hand of Damiani. Damiani doesn't look as strong as Page, but he picks his shots.
Watch the head. Watch the head.
I hear Padilla yelling, watch the heads, watch the heads. Page has had a few borderline shots downstairs, and it seems to cause Damiani to look over towards his corner. I don't know, they can't do anything about it. He's just going to try to protect himself the best he can. At the time, he lands a right hand again. It's the third time that Greg Page has been hit by the right hand of Damiani, and if he continues to be able to do that, Damiani will continue to gain confidence throughout the course of the fight. This, by the way, is a very tough opponent for Damiani. But if he's going to be effective at all in a world title shot, he's got to at least be able to beat a Greg Page. For Page, he's got to be able to at least beat somebody in the top 10 or 12 fighters in the world if he is going to be a legitimate candidate, and Page knows it. That time, Page made him miss the right hand. Right hand scored that time by Damiani. Don't forget, Page gave Razor Ruddock a great go for 8 rounds. And Ruddock, to my opinion, and a lot of people around the world, probably the heaviest puncher in the heavyweight division today. So Page definitely has the world-class and championship ability, but how much longer he can keep his body in the kind of condition it's in now is very, very difficult at age 33. Of course, Francesco Damiani is also 33 years old, so both of them need a victory very, very badly here. A much better round for Damiani has been round number 2. This is round 3, scheduled for 10. Damiani with the blue trim on his trunks, and Greg Page, the former champion of the world, with the red trim on his trunks. Damiani seems to have gained confidence in round 2, and wants to pick up the pace a little bit more here in round 3, as he's much more aggressive than he was back in round 1. I think in round 1, Page was really teeing off with his shots, and his shots have slowed down a little bit here now in round 3. Damiani trying to establish himself the way he did more in round 2. Again, Damiani gets through with the right, and if he continues to do that, sooner or later he will catch Greg Page. Page has got to pump that left in the face of Damiani to stop him from throwing that right hand. And you see Greg goes kind of leaning with the right hand, and he doesn't have a lot of power. He just kind of falls forward with the right hand. He'd be much better off to set it up with the left like he was doing back in the first round. The problem with the heavyweights at this age, 33, is as fatigue robs them of the spirit of the mind, they're not able to execute the things they know they should do. And Damiani comes with an uppercut that time that pushes past the nose of the former champ. These guys are working extremely hard, and it's ever so difficult when you're age 33 years old to keep the pace that this fight is going right now. Both guys are working very hard. Past the midway point, this is the 3rd round. Scheduled for 10 heavyweight divisions. Both guys trying to move up in the rankings in a truly important fight to open a boxing show for you tonight. Somebody's mouthpiece dropped out that time. I can't really tell who it is, but Carlos Padilla has it. And evidently it's Page's, because he seemed to have thrown it over towards Dr. Bill Follier. Page gets clipped again with the right hand. And you see what I mean, folks? If it continues to happen, it'll eventually be a right hand that ends this fight, because Page will not be able to continue to get away with it throughout the course of the fight. The action breaks and Padilla sends him over to get his mouthpiece back in, and now we're ready to go as the time continues back in round number 3. Bob Sheridan here on King Vision from the Thomas & Mack Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. We're indoors. This is a 19,000-seat arena, and the place is totally sold. In fact, I think it holds the record as Page's mouthpiece goes again, and he's not spitting it out. He gets clipped by the shot. And the crowd kind of boos as they have to rinse off the mouthpiece again for the 2nd time in the round. And Padilla says, hurry up, because Aaron Snowell started giving instructions in the corner instead of just rinsing that mouthpiece off and getting it right back into Greg Page. Closing seconds now, this is the 3rd round. A very even 3rd round and a difficult round to score. So as long as we feel that way, I'll score it even on my scorecard, and we'll discuss what happens if eventually this has to go to the judges. This is round 4. Scheduled for 10 heavyweights, world-ranked heavyweights. Greg Page with the red trim on his trunks. Francesco Damiani with the blue trim on his white trunks. Carlos Padilla, the 3rd man of the ring, has to separate the guys. Greg goes with that right hand lead again. Damiani able to absorb it inside as he ties the hands up. Page tries to work inside. Damiani tries to control his hands by tying them up. Every time that they get inside, Damiani likes to tie Page up. Page is, we mentioned on 2 or 3 occasions, and we'll continue to mention it, is wide open for the right hand of Damiani. And if Greg should be taking a step to his left at a time Damiani decides to throw that right hand, he will go. So what Greg needs to do, if he's aware that that is there, he may not know it. I would expect that somebody in the corner, they have to rinse off. That's the 3rd time. Now, if at any time that a referee thinks that the fighter is spitting out the mouthpiece, he can take a point away. Page has a tendency when he's open his mouth, when he's trying to breathe, to let that mouthpiece slip out. And if he gets hit at the same time he's doing that, the mouthpiece will go. So it won't be the last time that that mouthpiece goes to the canvas before this fight's over, because Greg has a habit of doing that. This is when, especially when Page is circling around to the left, when that right hand is very dangerous by Damiani. Damiani likes to throw uppercuts with both hands. But he realizes as he lashes out with the left hand, if he takes a step to his right, and there again he scores with a solid right hand. That's about the 5th time in the course of the fight that he's landed a solid right hand. When he's in exactly the right position, and back just a bit to throw that right hand and he lands it, Greg will go. Page can't be aware that he's that open to the left side of his body because I'm sure that he would defend himself differently. But just notice the way that left hand, as he gets fatigued, he has a tendency to carry it down more and more. You'll see that left glove hang down in front of his left leg. You see the way he's carrying his hand now, and you'll see as Damiani comes in, that hand keeps coming down. And when it comes down at some stage, and again, he's nailed with the right hand. The reason for it is the way Greg, as he gets fatigued, hangs his left hand. For his sake, I hope that it doesn't become a factor in the fight, but Damiani is able to score rights almost as he wants to at the stage of the fight. Another very difficult round to score. In swell underneath the left eye of Damiani. Everybody in Damiani's corner is talking, though. It's kind of like being in an Italian restaurant at feeding time. They're all enthusiastic, and Damiani's getting no instruction whatsoever. All right, coming up to the start of round number 5 as the mouthpieces slipped in. Across the ring goes Francesco Damiani in the white trunks with the blue trim. This is round 5. It's scheduled for 10. I had Damiani winning the 4th round and turning things around, but it was a difficult round to score. Let's see if Page can do any better here now in round number 5. The pace of the fight appears to be slower than it really is because when they get inside, the guys seem to tie themselves up. Just handed a note here from the Las Vegas Hilton Hotel. They sold 4,100 tickets and sold out their closed circuit showing. This fight at the Thomas and Mack Center sold out 24 hours after the tickets went on sale. Damiani has a tendency to tie Page up when he comes inside, so you may not like the pace of the fight, but I'll tell you right now, as we sit here at ringside, the boys are working extremely hard. I say boys, they're both 33 years old, so I should say men. Seasoned professionals, both former champs. Carlos Padilla gives Page a look as he whacks Damiani on the break. Of course, as the saying goes, you must protect yourself at all times. Nice shots inside that time by Damiani. A very evenly matched fight. So it's a very difficult fight for both of these guys. Both of them possess, I would say, about the same ability. And to this point, neither guy has really established himself as a clear, well, just establishing a clear superiority. Damiani seems to be picking up momentum as the fight progresses. That time it was the head that flipped Greg Page, and the mouthpiece came out again. That's the 6th time the mouthpiece has been on the canvas.
You got 1 point taken off. That's what you can have. Go out with the round.
You notice Aaron Snowell give Greg Page a drink of water while Damiani went to a neutral corner. He's supposed to rinse out that mouthpiece and throw it back in rapidly, but they'll take advantage any way they can. Snowell, a veteran of working with Mike Tyson, with Tim Witherspoon, and a very clever man in the corner. Damiani was very cautious of Page's power in the first round, but since then has kind of turned things around, and in the 4th and 5th round, I think, has established himself more in the course of this fight.
Hey, watch that. Watch that. Okay, stop.
Okay, get working.
That 1 point in a close fight, especially where the 4th and 5th rounds were close rounds that I gave to Damiani. If the judges see it the same way, it changes a very, very close fight into a 3-point fight at the midway point, and that means that Greg Page would have to win almost all the remaining rounds just based on losing that mouthpiece that time. It makes a very difficult situation. That's providing the judges have seen the 4th and 5th round the way I did. And don't forget, I scored the 3rd round even. Some judges may have given that to Damiani. If they gave it to Page, then the fight is still fairly close. But 3 rounds, or 3 points as the case may be, with only 5 rounds complete, is a big scoring advantage for Damiani right now, if in fact the judges see it the same way. See Page trying to hang on, and Carlos Padilla picks it up. But you notice in the very early going in the fight, it was all Page the aggressor. And now Damiani continues to force the fight as he comes forward. Page seems to be fresh enough, so he bounces on his toes. But Damiani is keeping more pressure on him and wants to fight inside a little bit more. Difficult fight for Greg Page as Damiani continues to put pressure on him, backs him up against the ropes, bangs away in the midsection. He holds on to his head when he has him inside, does Damiani. Page has to be aware of Damiani grabbing his arms and hands inside as well. But in this round, Page has been doing some of the grabbing. This is the 6th round. Again, that right hand is there for Francesco. Big, swollen puffiness underneath the left eye of Damiani. Greg Page was cut with what looked like a headbutt back in the 3rd round, but Dr. Bill Foley did a nice job keeping that under control through 4 and 5. We're in the 6th round, and again, the right hand's there, the left hand's there. Page gets nailed. There goes the mouthpiece again. And Page is getting nailed with shots now. Page had better answer these, or Padilla will step in. Strong barrage of punches for Francesco Damiani. A good round. Round 8, Francesco Damiani comfortably out in front. Both guys look to be a bit fatigued as you see them both kind of hanging on to each other. A fairly even fight through the first about 5 rounds, and then Damiani really began to take command in the 6th. And again, the mouthpiece comes out of Greg Page. And Page saying, why can't I just fight without it? The problem is, as he gets fatigued, his lower jaw hangs down, the mouthpiece slips down, and if it happens at the same time he gets hit, then the mouthpiece flies. It's the 9th or 10th time now that that mouthpiece has come out. And Padilla really can't do any more. I mean, Page, if he had any opportunity to win this fight, has been ruined by losing 2 points for dropping out the mouthpiece, and that's about all the referee really wants to punish him for doing it, but it's a nuisance in the course of the fight. Page at this stage in his career, he's got to get a mouthpiece fitted better than the one he's got. But the way this fight is going, instead of him getting an opportunity to fight for a title and move up in the top 10 or 12 in the world, Damiani is going to win this fight if it continues at this pace. unless Greg pulls something from way down. The one thing about championship fighters, they all possess that immeasurable quality, and that is the heart of a champion. And Page is going to need that if, in fact, he's going to win this fight now, because Damiani is having things his way. Both guys are very, very tired, I might add. Although Page appears not to be as fatigued as Damiani, but Damiani's still scoring heavier blows. Page able to fend him off, and you see that jaw hanging down. Unfortunately for Page, when Damiani's jaw hangs, the mouthpiece stays up in his teeth and it doesn't come out. Page nailed a pretty good right hand there. Page is going to have to get real good. Oh, the right hand nailed Page. You see that head come right in too. Damiani moved the head right back up to that eye. He caught Page with a real good right hand. And I've been afraid for Greg Page throughout the course of the fight that that right hand was there, and it's been there on several occasions through the course of the fight. If Page is in terrific shape and has been able to absorb it so far, Damiani still has that mouse below the left eye. Page is cut above the left eye, but Bill Foley's done a terrific job as the cut man in the corner, keeping it functionable throughout the fight. Posing second, and the bell ends around heavyweight fight. It's been a tough fight for Greg Page throughout. I thought that things were looking very good, but the only round that I have Page winning is round number 1. The judges may disagree on some of the early rounds, but certainly with the point deductions and the way Damiani has established himself in the 6th, 7th, and 8th, Greg Page has got the fight knockout now, or he's going to lose this fight. Page comes in, Damiani grabs him, Carlos Padilla, the third man in the ring, pulls him apart. Nice uppercut that time by Greg. This is round 9. Remember, it's scheduled for 10. Damiani, in my opinion, comfortably out in front in the fight. It would take a knockout, in my opinion, for Page to win. And I don't know if Page has enough strength to pull that off. Neither fighter has been down. Page was wobbled a little bit in the 6th round. He was cut over the left eye in the 3rd round. Had a point taken away from him in the 5th and 7th round for spitting out his mouthpiece or getting it knocked out. In the latter portion of the fight, Damiani has controlled the pace. Although this is a kind of an even round. But even rounds aren't good enough for Page at this stage. He's got to win the rounds. We've got two guys at 33 years old possessing almost exactly the same ability, the same stage in their careers, hoping upon hope for the $1 million payday and another world title shot. For one of these guys, it's not going to come. Page, to his credit, is in good enough shape to stay up on his toes and continue bouncing throughout the course of the fight, I'll tell you, but it's been the right hand that has set up some nice shots for Damiani during the course of the fight. The heavier blows landed by Damiani. Page really needs to land something to surprise Damiani now if he's going to pull an upset win here. Closing seconds of the 9th round. Round 1, Damiani, I thought, won 2. The 3rd round was even. Page got cut over the left eye in that round. Damiani won 4 and 5. A point was taken away from
Ladies and gentlemen, we're approaching the 10th
Greg
and final
Page in the
round of this
5th
bout.
round.
Let's cheer him on as they enter the center of the ring.
Damiani had a
Francesco
strong 6th
Damiani
round, the most
and
impressive
Greg
round of the
Page.
fight.
Round 10.
1 point was taken away from Page in the 7th round. The 8th round went to Damiani, and the 9th round I thought was even and was set to go to round 10. The 10th and final round, the two big heavyweights doing battle. Page has a cut over the left eye, a slight gash over the right eye. Damiani is puffy below the left eye. Neither fighter has been down. And only one time did Damiani muster an assault back in the 6th round strong enough to really call it a serious assault on the end of the fight.
Bring it up! Bring it up!
Again, Francesco Damiani was warned by Carlos Padilla that time about hitting on the break. He caught Page pretty good as the break took place. Damiani's left eye is almost totally closed, but Page has got to do more than bounce on his toes now if he's to win this fight. You see that sneaky right hand inside? Damiani's head is all around the eyes of Greg Page when he's in there. See the way his head bounces up against Page? And he has cuts over both the eyes of Greg Page as a result of it. Although the right hand has been there all night for Francesco Damiani. Page bounces away. Damiani scores a right hand a couple of times in that flurry. And now Page tries to mix it up, lean on the head. And Damiani just sticks his head right in the business there. Some tough infighting in this fight. Yelling from the corner of Damiani, finish strong. The people over in Greg Page is going to screaming at him. Both guys letting it fly for the closing seconds of the fight. Both guys are very fatigued, but they both want to finish it strong. Damiani tries to move in for the kill. Page able to bounce away. You see the time remaining in the fight. There'll be no knockout. In the state of Nevada, when the bell sounds, that signifies the end of the fight. And there it is. A real good outing for Francesco Damiani. Not so good for Greg Page. We'll show you a little bit of action from the closing seconds of the round. Watch the right hand, bang, left inside. Tough infighting, body shots by Damiani. Greg gets nailed again by the right hand. A real good flurry when the guys both really kind of sucked it up and wanted to finish strong, but not strong enough. See that head bouncing around of Damiani? It catches Page all around his eyes. Just to give you an indication of how tough it is inside there. All right, we're just about set to go to our ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon Jr. As he picks up the scorecards, we're waiting for him to get ready, and we will have the official scoring in the fight. Damiani should be a unanimous decision winner, but stranger things have happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of boxing, we have a unanimous decision. All three judges, Jerry Roth and Dave Moretti and Art Lurie, scored about the same. All three scoring at 95 to 93. All three in favor of the winner, Francesco Damiani.
Well, they didn't see it the same way I saw it, but they all agreed and had it all in favor of Damiani. But they had it a heck of a lot more close than when I had it. And based on the judges scoring 95-93, had there not been the problem with the 2 points taken away from the mouthpiece, this fight would have been a draw. And I certainly don't think that this fight was a draw in any way, shape, or form.